There is nothing more dangerous to a manipulator than an introvert who has finally stopped caring, not stopped feeling. Stopped caring what you think of their silence. Emotional blackmail runs on one fuel: your reaction, the guilt, the explanation, the desperate attempt to fix what you didn't break. Remove that reaction permanently, and the entire system dies. No drama, no confrontation, just a quiet, final withdrawal that the manipulator never saw coming and cannot reverse. Most people warn you before they leave. They argue, they threaten, they give you chances. An introvert gives you nothing. One day, the access is simply gone. Here is the exact process of how that happens and why, once it starts, it never stops. Section 1. The moment the mask comes off, the manipulator. It doesn't start with anger. It starts with a pattern. The introvert has been watching for a long time. That is what they do. They observe. And somewhere along the way, the observations stop being separate incidents and start connecting into a single, undeniable picture. Every time they try to leave, something happens. A crisis, tears, an accusation. Every time they say no, the emotional temperature in the room spikes in a very specific, very predictable way. Every time they try to assert something, a boundary, a preference, a simple need, they somehow end up apologizing before the conversation ends. That is not coincidence. That is architecture. Psychologist Susan Forward named this mechanism decades ago. Fog, fear, obligation, guilt. 3 emotional levers, pulled in rotation, to keep a person locked in compliance. The manipulator may not know they are doing it consciously. That does not make it less real. The moment the introvert sees the structure, not just feels it, but sees it clearly, can name the lever being pulled in real time, the manipulation loses most of its power on the spot. You cannot be fogged by something you can see. And that clarity, once it arrives, does not leave. It sharpens. Every day. Until there is nothing left to be confused about. Section 2. They stop feeding the machine. Here is what the introvert realizes next. Every response they give is fuel. Not just angry responses. All responses. The explanation. The justification. The attempt to reason. Even the apology. Every single one of these tells the system, keep going, this is working. Emotional blackmail is not a conversation. It is a transaction. The manipulator presents manufactured distress. The target produces guilt, explanation, or compliance. The transaction completes. The cycle resets. So the introvert stops completing the transaction. When the guilt trip arrives, they do not explain. When the accusation comes, they do not defend. When they are asked, with full theatrical weight, why are you doing this to me? They do not offer a paragraph. They offer a wall. One sentence. Unmovable. Delivered without heat. This is my decision. Then nothing. The manipulator escalates. They always do when the usual response disappears. The accusations sharpen. The crisis intensifies. The performance becomes louder because the audience has stopped reacting. But the introvert has understood something the manipulator hasn't. Silence is not submission anymore. It is the most complete form of refusal available. No argument means no foothold. No defense means no leverage. No reaction means no game. The machine runs, but it is running on empty now. Section 3. Dismantling. The guilt. Guilt is the last thing standing between the introvert and full detachment. It is also the most sophisticated weapon in the manipulator's arsenal because it does not need the manipulator present to function. It runs entirely inside the target's own mind. For an introvert, someone already inclined toward deep self-examination, already prone to holding themselves accountable, guilt is uniquely effective. They do not need to be told they did something wrong. They will find a way to believe it themselves. Until they learn to interrogate it, the introvert develops a single question audit. Not, why are they upset? That question leads straight back into the fog. Not, how do I fix this? That is the trapdoor. The only question that actually cuts through. Did I cause real harm? Did I act against my own values? Did I do something I would judge as genuinely wrong? Most of the time, when they answer honestly, the answer is no. They said no. They held a limit. They chose their own peace. That is not a crime. Each time the audit returns nothing, the guilt loses a layer of its authority. It still visits. For a long time, it keeps visiting, but it is no longer obeyed. The difference between feeling guilt and being controlled by guilt is everything. Section 4. The quiet withdrawal. There is no speech, no announcement, no moment where the introvert declares what they are doing. They simply begin to disappear. Response is slow. Availability shrinks. The emotional openness, the vulnerability, the history, the shared interior stops being offered. Not in a dramatic gesture, in the way water recedes. Gradually, then completely, the manipulator loses access. And without access, there is nothing to work with. You cannot manufacture guilt in someone you cannot reach. You cannot trigger fear in someone who no longer requires your opinion of them. You cannot enforce obligation on someone who has quietly, privately, permanently decided the debt was never real. The manipulator escalates. The messages become more urgent. The narrative to others becomes more extreme. The introvert has become cold, cruel, unrecognizable. A person who abandons someone who loved them without reason. But the introvert has stopped needing the manipulator to understand. That need, the need to be seen correctly by the person who hurt them, was the final chain. And now it is gone. They are not cold. They are free. They did not leave in a moment of rage. They left in the quietest, most deliberate way a person can leave anything, with complete clarity and no intention of returning. Section 5. What they become. The person who comes out the other side of this process is not who they were before. They are not simply healed. They are built differently. The most significant change is not the peace, though the peace is real. It is the immunity. They can now identify manipulation before it is finished constructing itself. The setup reads clearly before the trap closes. The lever announces itself before it is pulled, and their response to it, without effort, without drama, is the one thing a manipulator cannot survive: absolute indifference. Not performed coldness, not rehearsed detachment, genuine, structural disinterest in the outcome the manipulator is trying to engineer. There is nothing to grip. The guilt does not land. The fear does not activate. The obligation finds no surface to attach to. They become extraordinarily difficult to control, not because they feel less. If anything, they feel more clearly than ever. But because feeling something and being directed by it are now two entirely separate things. Their relationships restructure entirely. The ones that required performance, management, and constant emotional maintenance quietly fall away. What remains, and what enters, is something different, clean, mutual, honest. The people who never needed them to be smaller receive, for the first time, the full version of who this person actually is. The depth that was being misdirected for years now flows to the right places. They are not harder. They are clearer, not closed, just finally, completely, selective about who gets in. And nothing, no guilt, no manufactured crisis, no escalating accusation will change that again. Detachment is not cruelty. It is not coldness. It is what happens when someone who has absorbed too much for too long finally decides their peace is non-negotiable. If you recognize something in this video, something you have been living but couldn't name, that recognition is the beginning. The fog has started clearing. Trust what you now see. You are not responsible for maintaining a system that was designed to use you. If you want to go deeper into the psychology of emotional freedom and what comes after, subscribe. The next video will take this further than you expect.